Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Ali. And today I would like to build in a cipher on the messenger teachings regarding atheism. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has a unique and distinct position regarding what's known as a theist and an anti-theist, or a believer in God, or a God, or gods, and a disbeliever in any type or any form of God. Because on one hand, you have the argument that there can be no God, and on the other hand, you have the argument that there must be a God. So we're going to look at the pros and cons of this particular position. The messenger explained to us in his last tome, a holy book, titled Our Savior Has Arrived, published in 1974. He says to us, and I would like to quote him, if you give me a moment here. He says, I believe it's page 49, let me check. Yeah, on page number 49, he says to us, and I quote, oh, he's paraphrasing, just, he's not trying to be disrespectful. His books are actually compilation of previous articles and speeches, and they edited and things of that nature there. But basically, he says in the book, and I'm quoting him, oh, I don't believe in any of it. He's saying that in the sense of a symbolic atheist, if you will, or anti-theist. He says, oh, I don't believe in any of it, an atheist. Then he says in parentheses, he thought he was an atheist. Came and had dinner with me one day, and I laughed inside. He ain't laugh at the man, but he's saying he chuckled within himself. I said, now, you poor fool, how can you prove that you are an atheist? And so I looked at the man and started talking with him. And when he went out, he admitted that he was a fool for ever believing like that. You can't be an atheist except if you are a fool. But if you wake up and get wise, you can't be an atheist. So here, the messenger disputed the concept of an anti-theist, or an atheist, if you will, those that don't believe in God. And when you think about it, he has a logical argument, if you will. Because if you're saying you're an atheist, you're saying you don't believe in God. How do you know you don't believe in God? How can you show and prove? You can say or show and tell that you're an atheist, but how can you show and prove that? How can you show and prove that God does not exist? Likewise, how can a theist or a Christian or a Muslim or Hebrew or a Jew prove that God exists? It doesn't go like that. It's like we use what's commonly known as a worldview. And it's foolish of us to argue one worldview against another worldview. You know what I mean? And basically, when you get into that, you get into circular reasoning. You know what I mean? And it all boils down to faith. It all boils down to our accepted worldview. For example, the scientists have to have faith in some of their theories, their hypotheses, meaning that in science, there are things that they did not know that eventually they know. There are things that scientists used to believe that future scientists learned was wrong, and they modify their mathematics and adjust that science and discard the old sciences and bring in new sciences, and they have new theories or new beliefs in science. This is the same thing with so-called religion. Religion, or religare, as they say in Latin. Re means to go back to. Ligare means to fasten, to bind, to tie down, to enslave something. God doesn't have a religion. Moses did not believe in religion. Jesus did not believe in religion. Yahweh did not believe in religion. Allah does not believe in religion. In the Nation of Islam, we don't believe in religion, not in a secular sense. We believe in spiritual sciences, meaning that our ancestors in places like ancient Kemet, actually worldwide, West Africa, Nubia, the Sudan, you name it. Now, I mean, we had what we call ʻAtheists, which basically means peace, truth, freedom, justice, and equality. We call it Islam. I mean, but it was known by many names, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He tells us that we didn't always call it Islam. I mean, it was known by different names. Now, I mean, our ancient ancestors had what we know today as the Kabbalion. Now, I mean, the 7 universal forces, we say I Ching, the Ife. Now, I mean, harmony, what comes around goes around, karma. You go over China and India and Africa, around the world, everyone had the basic same thing. They just taught it in a different way. And this is what we believe, that the Nabi or the prophets taught the same thing, just in a different way. All of the so-called holy books were not from a mystery God or a supernatural God or supernatural laws. They were codified by the thoughts and pens of the people and the culture of that people, and the growth and development of that people produces what we call scriptures. And those scriptures, many of them lost unintentionally, intentionally. Some of them intentionally was burnt up. Some of them was destroyed. Some of them was hidden. And in the Nation of Islam, we have some that make a similar mistake. They confuse what the Nation of Islam believes with what the Nation of Islam knows. Our iman or our faith is not the same as our alimi, or our knowledge, or our hakimi, or our wisdom, or our leafy, or our understanding when it comes to the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. In the same book, ʻAtheists Arrived, the messenger told us, he said, our people take things in a spooky sense. They take it what he calls hook, line, and sinker. They don't ask no questions. It's not a sin to have doubt. It's not a sin to want to analyze, deputize, and scrutinize what we call the truth, because the truth is not stagnant. What we believe in today, we may not believe in tomorrow. We may modify our mathematics. So the abrogation of scriptures, the update, amendments to the Bible and Quran is just natural. That's just human growth and development, if you will. Now, I mean, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote ʻA'THēəst, for example, he was in a time where we didn't have super farms like we do today. We didn't have the genetic code decoded like we do, DNA mathematically mapped out like it is. We didn't have genetically engineered foods the way we have today. So you have to be careful, because, like say, in the 1940s, you could eat a tomato. The supermarket didn't have to tell you it's an organic tomato, because at that time they wasn't putting meat inside of fruit. Now you have fish that's inside of tomatoes. You have individual cells that's developed in laboratories and grown into human ears. You have pig hearts placed in human beings today. So we live in the natural realm where things develop and things change. That's one of the constants of the universe. Our beloved brother and mentor and scholar and pioneer, actually, Brother Jabril Muhammad, known as Bernard Kishmir, he wrote a good book called This Is the One. And one of the things that I love about that book is he quotes the messenger in there. And basically, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad explained to us, if we want to understand God or the truth, we should study the natural laws that govern the universe. That's the language of a scientist. Going further, In 1972, in the Theology of Time tape series, which published in book form, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I just want to teach you the science. He teaches us that God is a descendant of 24 scientists. So when we look at the theists, on one hand, the FOI and MGT, we believe in God, but on the other hand, we're anti-theists, or we're atheists in the sense of we don't believe in a mystery God or mystery gods in any shape, form, or fashion. Spook spirits, supernatural laws, ghosts, witches, whatever. But our rationale tells us that all of those legends, all of those myths are rooted in some natural law, in some form of reality. The Holy Quran says in chapter 22, verse 6 in the Arabic, or in the Arabic language, it says, Allahu ana al-haqi. The God is the haqi, or the reality. God is reality. What is real? You see? Now that reality does not throw us in a spooky sense, like so if I can't see it, I can't believe it. We don't go into that type of goobly goop. We don't go into that type of spookism either, because we believe in the seen and the unseen. We have to have iman, or faith, in the mathematical laws of this universe, which covers 238 quintillion, 640 quadrillion miles. Our universe is a cipher. Our moon is a cipher. It's a circle of 360 degrees. The sun is a cipher, 360 degrees. The earth is a cipher. I know some people like it's a flat earth theory. Yeah, that's a hypothesis. It bellies logic. It's not true. It's not mathematics. Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. You can open your eyes and see that the moon is a globe. It's a cipher. You can use regular binoculars and actually look at it in this day and time. I mean, we have digital telescopes nowadays, atomic telescopes. Now, I mean, so it's a lot of misinterpretation, misinformation, unscientific notions that's put out there. So the atheists have a good argument on that side. And at the same time, the theists, or the ministers, the preachers, the imams, the gurus, the sheikhs, the priesthood, they have a good argument also. So on one hand, you have those that believe in God, or a creator, and those who believe that the universe always was and always will be in some shape, form, or fashion. Some believe in multiple universes. I don't believe in a multiple universe, because a multiple universe would be contrary to mathematics. If you had a multiple universe, it still would be one universe. All of those bubbles would be one giant universe. It's not mathematics. What is more logical and practical and realistic is that we have a universe. And when we look at the universe and study the universe and do the mathematics of the universe, we understand that there are things and forces that we see and things we don't see. When you hear scientists talking about, oh, we found a new planet, or the star so-and-so is over here, the Alpha Centauri, the closest star, is equal to 4.3 light years away. A light year, that's because light travels 186,000 miles per second. But they don't know that. They believe that. They got faith in that, because their mathematics give them real scientific, provable, factual information. But there's parts of that equation that they have faith in. We don't see stars. It may look like we see the light of that star. It was traveling 4 years and 3 months ago. So we can see it after 4 years and 3 months, but you don't see the actual star. You don't see the black hole, but you can use C+ language. You can use binary code on your computer. Now, I mean, everything is 1, 2. Everything is a positive and negative, up and down. Again, it goes back to our ancestors, the Kabbalah, 7 universal forces, cause and effect, actions and reactions. Now, I mean, the pendulum always swings both ways. Everything reaches its own tide. There's gender in everything. There's a male and female principle in everything. Now, Elijah Muhammad, in his last book and in his first, Al-Sayyid Azrab, he explained to us, how did that first guy create himself? He went to the quark. He went to the fraction of an atom. Know what I mean? And when he talked about that Adam, that first God created himself, he explained, listen, he created himself in the womb of space. And he compared the womb of space to the black woman. He's like, listen, don't think that the black woman is nothing. She's something too. So he gives us Ma'at, as they say in ancient Kemet or Black Egypt. He gives us that balance. Ma'at is really just Islam. Ma'at is peace, truth, freedom, justice, equality. When you look at our flag and you see the four corners of that rectangle, I mean, each corner is 90 degrees. 4 times 90 degrees equals what? 360 degrees. When you see the 5-pointed star, the distance between each one of those points on the star is mathematically 72 degrees. Why? 5 times 72 degrees equals what? 360 degrees. When you look at that moon or that crescent represents the new crescent or the new Islam, al-Jadi Islam, and not al-Arik or the old Islam. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said there will be a new Islam that will be in this day and time that the old Islam, al-Arik Islam, will oppose. So that moon you see is 180 degrees. What about the other half of that moon? It's 180 degrees. The old moon, al-Qamar or al-Badr, is 180 degrees. 180 degrees and 180 degrees is what? 360 degrees. The sun is 360 degrees. The moon is 360 degrees. The stars is 360 degrees. We build in the cipher, on the cipher, as the cipher. We decipher the cipher because we are the cipher. We are the church. We are the school. We are the synagogue. We are the mosque. We are the masjid. And this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in 1972, after him, the Nation of Islam will not be run by local mosques. I have no problem with FOIs and MGTs going to local mosques and temples because I understand the Nation of Islam rose and it fell, it rose and it fell, and it rose and it shall never fall again. But some people have different levels of comprehensions, different levels of understanding. Now, I mean, when you look at the messenger's position, if you want to understand the messenger's message to guide you through this age of mess, the messenger's teachings is, no, after him, there ain't going to be no more of that. Now, I mean, we should be building a divine government of peace. Headed by whom? The Supreme Allah God, who came in the person of the Messenger Muhammad. What is the foundation? His first, last, and only messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the priesthood, the ministers, the imams, the sheikhs, the gurus, they all have to move in their own spheres. And we have to be like that crane and be wise enough to pick up and build with the best parts. But we also have to be wise enough to have that wrecking ball to knock down or reject the spooky stuff. So when the Nation of Islam had the supreme minister or the chief minister, Imam Mufti Muhammad, come in 1975, and he began teaching, you know, he came to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Civic Center, and I actually have the book from 1975, The Wisdom of W.D. Muhammad. Now, I mean, you can contact me by email, ministeralief.com for information on that. But in the book, you can see the actual pictures. You see, you know, how he mathematically did it. He brilliant guy when it comes to that Bible. He know the Quran. He knew the Arabic better than, I would say, most of the ministers. But he really also knew that Bible. His interpretation and analogies and transliterations of breaking that Bible down, he was a master. Know what I mean? So, you know, I can see how the masses or the majority of the FOI and MGTs followed him straight into spookism or Orthodox Islam, if you will. Know what I mean? And that's just my personal opinion. Know what I mean? You know, some people definitely move with sincerity. Of course, you had rotten fruit in the ranks, like anything, you know, like you had the mafia in the Catholic Church and stuff like that, but the church didn't lay claim to a few gangsters in their ranks. In the Nation of Islam, you know, we don't say the messenger taught us to do this. Whatever stupid stuff we do it on our own. We have the restricted laws of Islam, the 26 restricted laws, and we know that mere belief accounts for nothing less carried into practice. But as the Bible teaches us, you know, the soul is willing, but the flesh is weak. Men, women, we sometimes do stupid stuff. I do stupid stuff. You know what I mean? If I compare everything that I know as a minister for almost 40 years to what I don't know nothing. I mean, I learn every day. I try to learn every day. You know what I mean? Some of my old ideas, I have to update them. I have to revise things. You know what I mean? Because I was wrong. Some things I may not have been wrong on, but I wasn't clear enough on my point. I wasn't mature enough in that particular position. You know what I mean? My mentors was Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Father-in-Law, Clarence 13X, Salas Muhammad, Jeremiah Shabazz, T.D. Jakes, Christian preachers, Sunni imams, you know what I mean? Atheists, gangsters, hip-hop artists, whatever. I learned from all kinds of stuff, you know what I mean? But one of the things I thought was that I really thought basically that everything was in black and white. You know what I mean? Like, black man God, white man the devil, heaven and hell's here, and that's that. But then when I start studying the message of teachings, I'm like, oh, he's saying certain Jews, like I'll say, he's explained to us that the white people are gods too. They're gods of their own world, huh? The worst devil is the black devil because he got the knowledge of self. Like, huh? I mean, you know, there's going to be a few white Muslims of faith, though not by nature, that are going to be blessed into their own hereafter, huh? Now, I mean, Master Muhammad's mother was a pure, righteous white woman, a Jew, huh? The Jews are closest to the Muslims because the Jews follow after the law of Abraham and Moses like the Muslims. And basically, Islam is just the revival of old Hebrew Judaism. Now, I mean, what they call kosher food, we call halal food. I mean, so when you start looking at it, you see that we're teaching the same thing, just in a different way. And you mature out of that. I used to argue Islam against Christians, FOIs against Sunnis. Sunnis are like, well, do you know how to make salat? And I didn't know how to make salat. The messenger gave us a prayer book, and I studied it and learned it in English. Eventually, I learned it in the Arabic or in the Arabic. And I used to, you know, start arguing about the Arabic, arguing about the Quran. Now, I mean, so we like arguing because sometimes we learn like that. But our tussles is not personal. Now, I mean, that's our own way of growing and trying to show and prove our loyalty and that we know something. Now, I mean, that we're down with something that somebody else may not be down with. But at the end of the day, once you mature, you see the beauty of it. Now, I mean, the logic of it. So it's the same thing with the atheists. Now, I mean, I like hearing the atheist arguments because they have some valid, good points, excellent arguments. An atheist that studies can defeat a Christian, Muslim, or Jew that doesn't study. A Christian, Muslim, or Jew that studies can defeat an atheist that doesn't study. So you can't just take, you know, something hook, line, and sinker because everybody has different levels of comprehensions, articulation. Now, I mean, we're taught now 24 principles of Islam that a Muslim knows what to say, how to say it, when to say it, where to say it, whom to say it to. So we can become wordsmiths. Now, I mean, you know, but that don't mean that we're writing everything. I mean, you know, I don't believe that I'm writing everything. You know, I just strive to share what I do know. Now, I mean, and like religion, people say, and if you went to ancient Greece or ancient Rome, you know, you see the masses, they learning all kinds of sciences. They, you know, sciences in cooking, making clothes, weapons, pottery, chariots, whatever. They're buildings. Now, I mean, same thing in ancient Africa. Now, I mean, you see all this high technology, but at the same time, you see the spooky stuff too. Because usually human nature is such that whenever it's something we don't understand, we try to fill the gaps. And when you try to fill the gaps, you got to fill it with something that's just human nature, you know what I mean? And sometimes we fill the gaps with spooky stuff, luck, superstition, symbols, rituals, or mystery gods, you know what I mean? So as science comes about and becomes more practical and more relevant and more dominant in the society, we modify our spiritual beliefs. So the Romans that was worshiping Venus and Mars and Zeus and stuff like that, they be like in 2021, they be like, that's our ancestors. We don't really worship the white bull no more. I mean, we don't, the Catholics be like, yeah, we used to really pray to those statues, the saints and all, but we really don't push that too much. Now, I mean, during Hajj, Muslims used to be crying, saying, oh, Allah, here I am, and they do everything to try to touch the black stone and kiss the Kaaba, but they be like, the scholars be like, that's really not the Sunnah. I mean, that's really not Quranic. That's really not something that you're obligated to do, even though people do it. You know what I mean? With COVID-19, you putting germs all on the rock and you want to come kiss the rock. And it's like your lips might swell up. I mean, so that's not a smart thing to do. So you have Muslims today, they be like, yeah, I made Hajj, but I didn't try to kiss the stone. I didn't try to touch it because that was not an obligation of my spirituality. I wanted to practice the deen or the natural way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a proper way. I respect that. But at the same time, in Christianity, people be like, yeah, they put up Christmas trees. Yeah, we dye some Easter eggs, but we know now, rabbits don't lay eggs. And, a lot of that stuff is from paganistic ancestry, and we just incorporate it into our religion. I mean, and the Nation of Islam do the same thing. So people be like, well, the Nation of Islam, y'all was making medicine for HIV and AIDS, and people was dying. Y'all don't wear this. Y'all don't do the vaccinations with COVID-19 out here, and y'all into Scientology. And it's a lot of misinformation, misinterpretation. But when you look at the niyat, or the intent of something in its origin, you'll see that the spiritual teacher may have a positive and logical explanation for what he or she did. It's just that as time moves on, the believers and disbelievers take it somewhere else. And I mean, so next thing we're universal scientists. We're supposed to study everything. Master Muhammad did not get programmed with binary code and 1, 2 and C+ language. He went and learned from his father, Alfonso Shabazz, who went around the world and paid great sums of money buying wisdom or Hakimi and brought it back to his son and taught it to his seed. He taught it to his son, the Son of Man, S-U-N-S-O-N. He taught it to his son, the Mahdi, the Messiah, the Christ, the one that would crush the technology of Dr. Yaqub Malik Shabaz's civilization. So Master Fard Muhammad, he received information from Indians, from Chinese, from Japanese, from Africans, from Europeans, from Australians, from people from the islands. And when you study the teachings, you'll be like, oh, he had to be a Buddhist or a Hindu or this, because this is in this teaching. It's like, no, he studied all that. He took the best parts, whatever worked, whatever was practical, whatever was real. He naturally, like we should supposed to be able to do, we incorporate that which is helpful. But at the same time, Master Muhammad said that he despised witchcraft and voodoo and root doctors. He didn't despise the spiritual people like, say, Dr. Sabi or the shamans or the Native American Indians that scientifically understood herbs better than most people. Now, I mean, people that understood that real medicine was food, as Imhotep put it. Now, I mean, the father of real medicine. Now, I mean, he understood the benefits of honey and garlic and ginger and things of that nature. But he also understood you could take certain natural herbs and harm yourself. You can mix certain natural herbs and kill a person. It could be detrimental to a pregnant person. If a person is on medication and they mix it with something else, they can die. There are berries, fruit. There are mushrooms that grow from dead matter, fungus. If you eat that mushroom, if you eat that fruit, if you make tea out of that tree bark, if you eat those roots, you would physically die in 60 seconds. So just because something is fruits and vegetables, don't mean you go out and eat all of the fruits and vegetables on the earth. Talking about you a vegetarian or you're a vegan, it'll kill you. I mean, you don't get creatine and B12 from fruits and vegetables. Your body naturally produces creatine. Now, I mean, but if you are suffering from certain ailments, now, I mean, if your central nervous system is not operating properly, you can become B12 deficient. And people are like, oh, you could get B12 from sea moss, and it's a lot of pseudoscience out there. Now, I mean, when you study science, when you study your lessons, you know that we study the sciences of life. And when we teach a thing that we don't know, the message said we could be charged with lying to the people, because we can harm the people, because we're giving them half-truth and whole lies, misinterpretations and misinformation. So I see, as a minister, I seen with my own eyes. I had to literally physically save people's lives because they went in the garden and ate certain things, and I seen them and they had blood and pus coming out their hands, from the bottoms of their feet, from their lips. They had pus coming out their ears and nose and eyes, and they almost died. And I was like, yo, what's going on? Oh, I was doing this herbal, John. I was on this herbal diet, and it's like, nah. Now, I mean, you gotta be conscious of other things, other elements. Now, I mean, if it's something like a strawberry, you guys to be mindful, like, did it get sprayed with pesticide? I mean, it's like, is the soil acidic? Is it harmful elements in the water? Now, I mean, this is the world in which we live. Now, I mean, water is being sold in bottles now. I mean, our ancestors would think it was crazy if you selling water. Now, I mean, it's like people are wearing face masks. I got my face mask in my pocket right now. Now, I mean, but the thing is, it's like, in the future, you have to buy some air. You're going to have to pay for clean air. I mean, because of the pollution. Master Muhammad told us in the 99 Actual Facts that the devil contaminates 3 cubic feet of air every hour. How much air do human beings need? Human beings, on average, we breathe 3 cubic feet of air every hour. So every breath we take is the breath of death, or the soul of the devil in this day and time. So we have to be mindful of that. Now, I mean, it's like the atheist, like the religious fanatic, has his stupid stuff too. His stupid side, or her stupid side too. Just like us religious folks. Now, I mean, we have a lot of spooky stuff too. Now, I mean, so what we really should be doing is not arguing over is there a God or it isn't. We should be arguing over what principles of spirituality are helpful and what principles are harmful. What sciences are beneficial and what sciences are detrimental. Because sometimes we get so smart we're dumb. You know what I mean? We have to try to balance it all out. And that's an ongoing struggle. You know what I mean? I remember years ago, in the belly of the beast, it was going to be a huge, huge war. When I say huge war, in prison, people get killed. Now, I mean, black, white, candy stripe. Now, I mean, I've seen people get stabbed 10 times, 30 times, their throats cut off, their hearts stabbed, their eyeballs taken out. Now, I mean, things happen. Usually when you don't mind your business, but things happen. Now, I mean, and I remember one time we had a real strong, super militant FOI in the society that was in the street from West Philadelphia. And his brother was an openly gay man in the penitentiary from West Philadelphia. And I went on a visit to see my wife one day, and he came in the visit room and he caught my attention because he had a kufi on his head. Everybody buzzed, and see, in the penitentiary, you don't play with Muslims. I ain't talking about FY, I'm talking no Muslims. You don't disrespect Sunnis, Shia, Ahmadiyya, Ansari, Hebrew Israelites, Moors, whatever. Why? The penalty is death. I mean, You know, you don't disrespect Pittsburgh, North Philly, South Philly, West Philly. Why? The penalty is death. You don't disrespect homosexuals, white guys, Aryan Nation, little guys, old men. Why? The penalty is death. You sleep on a person, underestimate and doubt a person if you want. It's a real, it's totally different from, you know, out here where, you know, you could just get a gun. I mean, you get a shotgun. Everybody got shotguns and guns and automatics and all that kind of stuff out here. This is the wild, wild west. This is America. However, when you're put in that cage with the lions and tigers and bears, oh my, it's a totally different world. Because now you're in a situation where, you know, as the FOI say, our thing was boys fight to see who win or lose, men fight to see who live or die. So we ain't play no games. I definitely ain't play no games. Now, I mean, when they put me in Greatest Fort, they kicked me out of Greatest Fort. And they, you know, they sent me to Rockview Penitentiary. When they put me in the maximum prison of Rockview, they kicked me out of Rockview. Now, I mean, they sent me back to Greatest Fort. They kicked me out of Greatest Fort. They sent me to Huntington. I mean, when they sent the racist white folks up Huntington was scared to death of me. They kicked me out of Huntington. Now, I mean, they sent me to Greene County, the Supermax. They kicked me out of the Supermax for attempted murder on the most racist security captain up there, Machino, at that time. Now, I mean, they kicked me out of there. They sent me to Dow. They kicked me out. They kicked me out everywhere. Now, I mean, I was a problem child because I was teaching the raw teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, I mean, and you know, it is what it is. It was what it was. Now, I mean, it's like I could have easily, you know, grew a beard and became a Christian or start getting drunk or put a kufi on. I would have been home a long time ago, easy. I was like, man, I ain't compromising nothing. Now, I mean, I don't apologize. I ain't explaining nothing. Now, I mean, I was the type dude like, you know, you might say something behind my back, but to my face, it's like, you better kill me because I'm coming to kill you. That's how we was moving. Now, I mean, so it's a thing where, you know, our principle was boys fight to see who win or lose. Men fight to see who live or die. Now, I mean, in this particular situation, it caught me in it because we had a good brother of mine that's in the society, but his brother wore kufi on a visit in the visitor room. Whew, that's jailhouse bad politics. But the unique thing with this particular situation was the homosexual, the gay guy was not a coward by any stretch of the imagination. I never lived in West Philly, but he was from the Moon Gates for down 60th Street. They knew this dude was, he'll see you if he have to see you too. He may be into whatever, but my thing was high by, keep it respectful, keep it moving, because our lessons teach us, you know, Muslim respects all people and demands respect from all people. So I never had no problem with or nothing like that, but I respected his brother. And, you know, we used to joke because his slave name was Alvin. So I'd be like, Brother Alvin X. You know what I mean? What's up? He'd be like, you know, my name is this, that, and the other. And, you know, and he had to correct me one day. And when I thought about it, I was like, damn, he right. Because I was, you know, I was in my super militant bag. And my thing was, you know, my name, my leaf, this, that, and the other. And his argument was, his name was Buttercup. And my problem was, I don't call men Buttercup. I'm not calling you no butter. I'm calling you Brother Alvin. I mean, and his argument was, Brother Minister, you notice that I always respected the FOI. I always respected you as the minister. Now, I mean, and when y'all hold your classes, you know, when y'all walking through the jump, we get out your way. It's, you know what I mean? And it's like Muhammad Ali telling people that his name is Muhammad Ali, and white people saying, we calling you Cassius Clay. He said, here it is. I call you by the name you want me to call you by. I don't just call you Alif. I call you Brother Minister Alif out of respect. My name is Buttercup. And I was like, I got to respect that. If I'm going to call you, I'm going to call you Buttercup, or I'm not going to call you. That's disrespect calling you Alvin. I'm not going to joke with you like that no more. So we had a respectful rapport like that. And his brother was a strong, dedicated, fearless FOI, helping the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan build the Nation of Islam, rebuild the Nation of Islam, if you will. We We were super serious about Farrakhan. Back then, it's totally different. This is a whole nother world. The social media stuff, totally different. To give you an idea, our thing was this. The FOI I knew, the Supreme Angels, I can honestly say, I'm trying to picture in my head, I would say 98% of them, if you disrespected Master Fard Muhammad or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad or the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, we would kill you. Plain and simple. It was that serious. Like I remember like 2 or 3 of us going in Jumar when the Nation of Islam had that transition thing, and Imam Worthy Muhammad was real strong at the time. The Bilalians, they had the TV and they had the tapes up there, and you know, it's just like, that's why Muhammad, how can he be Allah? Do Allah spend like dollar fart in this? It was just some. We went in that joint and turned it upside down, broke the TV, pulled out our joints, banged people up. I mean, it was that type of party with us. So it was a real serious thing. Not that we was invincible. No, I had 2 of my cellies physically got murdered. I mean, you know, I was charged with attempt murder on a security captain of the Supermax. So this thing was real for us. Now, I mean, I didn't go to Hole for 6 months, 90 days, and 30 days. No, I used to go to Hole 2 years, 3 years. Now, I mean, you know, my cell would be like just me and General Nasheed and the lecture chair right there at Rockview. We up on top of what they call, anybody been up there tell you, that's DW. They don't put killers up. They put the super killers up. That's DW, the death wing. That's where they used to put me at in the hole to separate me from the brothers. Because we wasn't no joke. We'll snatch the guard up, take care of him, take his keys, unlock the hole, come in the hole and stab you up. That's how we was moving. I mean, you know, it was real vicious. It was a real dangerous time. Now, I mean, so to see this brother wearing his kufi on a visit, I knew that there were Sunni brothers, Bilalian brothers, or Orthodox Muslims that was just as vicious as me. Some of them more vicious than me. So I was like, oh, they gonna kill Buttercup. They gonna kill the FOI's gay brother in this joint. I don't know what he doing, but I was like, let me check into this. But I'm on my visit. I ain't getting to that right now. We'll deal with that later. So after the visit and all that, you know what I mean? They call child, whatever. I see him I'm like, yo, what's up with you wearing a kufi? And you know, he like, minister, you know, I wore that because my brother came to see me. You know how he is. If I would have went out there with perm in my hair and all that, he would have rolled on me in the visitor room. True, I understand that. You know what I mean? But my thing was, you putting on a kufi is like a Muslim brother putting on the sister's khimar and going to do something negative in it. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to know how to do wrong right. That's disrespectful. You don't want to disrespect the Sunni brothers. I'm not Sunni, but I respect them in every shape, form. If a Sunni come in my cell, he'd be like, excuse me, Aki, you know, you got pictures on the wall, family, Master Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, the flag. You know what I mean? He's like, you mind covering them up when I make my prayer? Utmost respect. I'm not gonna I'm gonna take them down as long as you in here, because that's offensive to you. I love and respect my Muslim brother. I don't care what branch of Islam you claim. I'm gonna respect that. Know what I mean? And so you know, I take the pictures down. Let the brother go ahead and make his slide. Give him his privacy. Make his slide. Do his thing. Know what I mean? If he's a Christian, I'm gonna respect him. If he's atheist, he's from South Philly, West Philly, I'm gonna respect him. Know what I mean? You know, it's just how we mathematically move. You know what I mean? You gotta know how to do politics, if you will. You know what I mean? And Buttercup had a legitimate argument. His argument basically was, why should I take my kufi off when you got dudes that wear kufis that come mess with me? He talking about sexually. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know, it's too much information, but I understand that. But you can't say the community messes with you. You can't deny the fact that the majority of them Muslim brothers don't indulge in that. They don't. I mean, 99% of them don't mess with no homosexuals and none of that. Know what I mean? Same thing with any faith. Know what I mean? So you got to take that into consideration. You're disrespecting their religion, their deen, their spirituality, their natural way of life. That's disrespectful. They don't, and in your realm, they don't, when y'all at y'all table doing y'all thing, we let y'all do that. See, the penitentiary is not like it is on TV, like Oz, all that spooky. You could tell those people never been in a real penitentiary. Know what I mean? The way it really works is like this. You come in the shower room, this aisle is only for Muslims. It's clean. We don't get naked when we take showers. I don't want to see another man. He don't want to see me. No, we keep our boxes on. The gays be over there. You know what I mean? The dirty people be over there. You know what I mean? You know, so segregation is a big thing. You know what I mean? Segregation was a big thing. You know, eating at tables and, you know what I mean? You walk past people's cell, you don't look in that cell. You might get your eyes taken out looking inside somebody's cell. They may be taking a dump or something. Who knows? You know what I mean? So you better mind your business. You know what I mean? But long story short, you know what I mean? You know, I seen his side of the argument, which was a legitimate argument, but he seen my side too. You know what I mean? Meaning that, all right, you may have a few lit professors that may stray and come over here and do something. But the majority of them brothers that go to Jumu'ah, that call it the Dawn, that make Salat, and they Ramadan and practice the ʻAtheists and the ēʻTHēəist, and they study the Kitab, the Quran, and I mean, they sincere. I mean, and they the ones that's going to kill you behind. I mean, he knew he had no win, but he wasn't afraid either. I mean, you know, he was from the Moon Gang, so he used to fighting and stabbing and shooting and whatever. And he wasn't no little guy. This dude is like, I'm 6'1". He had to be like 6'5", 6'3" or something. He was taller than me. I mean, so he wasn't scared, but that wasn't the issue. The issue was, by night yard, he would have been physically dead. Ain't no doubt in my mind about that. They would have overkilled his behind, putting that kufi on. That's disrespectful. Know what I mean? So you know, I tried to see that side, and the Imam thing was, it's only two things he can do. We want that Quran. I mean, we want that kufi, and we want a public apology. So what I did was, I took and got with him and got the kufi from him and got with him, and we orchestrated a respectful meeting of the minds, in the sense that he apologized for wearing the kufi and explained to them why he wore the kufi, and everything was not peaches and cream, but a degree of peace was established where no one got hurt. And, you know, we just had to wait a few days and just let it simmer down, and eventually just died down and became a distant memory. I didn't even think about it for probably let me see, that was back in 1988 or something like that. I mean, so it's been over 20 years, you know what I mean? But it showed how a meeting of the minds, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad put it. He said we need to have a meeting of the minds because our people are divided by religions. You know what I mean? You know, it's like Christians and Catholics and Baptists and Hebrews and 5%ers and Pan-Africans and revolutionaries, Black Panthers, FOI and MGTs, 5%ers. It's like, listen, you know what I mean? We all family. Now, I mean, we're on the same planet covering 196,940,000 square miles, 7 billion of us. Now, I mean, we all got our strengths and our weaknesses, our wisdom and our stupidity. So the atheists, as we call it, the anti-theists, those that are against God, they should understand that everyone that believes in God doesn't believe in a mystery God, or supernatural God, or false God. When we say God, we're talking about Webster's dictionary. Like the dictionary used, it's written by this white guy known as Noah. Noah, his last name was Webster, Noah Webster. Now, I mean, he defines God as the supreme being. Supreme is defined as the most high. Being means to exist. So if you say Santa Claus don't exist, you can't make a negative a positive. Be like, how can you say Santa Claus don't exist? You saying that Santa Claus don't exist proves that Santa Claus exists. That don't mean that Santa Claus is not a fake Santa Claus, but if you say Santa Claus don't exist, that means Santa Claus exists where? He exists in your mind as an idea. And if you bring a mental idea into fruition or reality, you bring the mental into the mechanical, that means it exists. So now when you're driving down the street on a billboard, you see Santa Claus right there. You go to the mall and see the children sitting with whom? Santa Claus. You turn on your TV, you see the cartoon of Santa Claus. So the Santa Claus that you say don't exist does exist. And when the scholars look at it, they be like, oh, Santa Claus is part of a pagan John, old Saint Nick, and he was really a human being. And it's like, it's rooted in reality. Most mythologies and legends are rooted in reality. It's just that as time goes on, it gets spooked up. Now, I mean, Halloween, All Hallows Eve, you know, it's a science behind it. And what happens with some atheists, they become extreme in their anti-theism, and they just like, oh, ain't no gods. It's like, you are the God. You brushed God's teeth this morning. You are the supreme being. If you look at the planet, I mean, that which we call holy intellect or intelligence is found in all things. Everything's alive. The sunflower can think. The sunflower can feel. It can feel cold chills. It can follow the sun. It can, you know, the Venus flytrap, that plant eats meat. It eats flies. Now, I mean, the amoeba can feel pain. You send a shockwave into it. You put a bright light on a pregnant woman's stomach and a baby in there, 6 months, the baby can see that light. The baby can hear music. The baby can taste what mommy tastes. If mommy used some drugs and alcohol, the baby is going to come out addicted to drugs and alcohol. So there is a nexus. There is a ecosystem that incorporates all things in this so-called universe. So it is with the mind of humanity. There's only one mind. We all have individual brains, but there's only one mind. There's all kind of light bulbs. Some light bulbs are 30 watts, some are 60 watts, some are 100 watts. The light bulb in your refrigerator is not as bright as the light on the highway, but they all use the same energy. So it is with humanity. Some people only went to the 4th grade. Some people are uneducated. Some people are college graduates, you know, but that don't mean that these brains operate on a different form of energy. It's the same energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Now, I mean, we call it in science energy. Religious people call it God, the creator. In the Nation of Islam, we call it the mind of the black man. I mean, so it's the same thing, just in a different way. But in the universal order of things, the atheist that doesn't believe in God believes in good and evil. Not in good and evil in religious terms. They believe it in scientific terms. They call the atom the proton or the particle, the positron or the quark, and they believe in the neutron, the neutral force. They believe in the electron cloud outside the atom. They believe in the negative force. The electron is nothing more than the devil, the negative force. That's the 10%, the rich, the slave makers of the poor. In the core, with the 5% or the proton or the positive force is the 5% poor righteous teacher. And to mix with the 5% is the 85%, the mass, the neutron, the neutral, the mentally dead, those that worship that which they know not what. Those who are easy to lead in the wrong direction, but they're hard to lead in the right direction. So our cosmology or our philosophies, our codification, if you will, may sound like we're talking about different things, but we're really talking about the same thing, just in different ways. It's our world view. So I want you to be mindful that you should just simply strive for balance in all things, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, or atheist, a Hebrew, a Hindu, Buddhist or whatever. Now, I mean, there's over 4,000 religions, as we call it, on earth today. But I consider myself I believe in spiritual sciences. I believe in common sense. I believe in mathematics. I believe in nature. I believe in reality. Now, I mean, I don't look up to the sky for God. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us in Message to the Black Man in America in 1965, he said, get out of that. Now, I mean, he said, answer your own prayers. So a prayer is not an adjective or a verb. A prayer is a noun. A noun is what? A person, place, or thing. How do you get a prayer answered? A person must be in a certain place doing something. Otherwise, that mystery God is going to leave you hanging. Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Brother Ali. See you next time.